So the last topic, that is Bhakti and Sufi movement. Bhakti and Sufi movement. So पहले भक्ति से स्टार्ट करेंगे and then we'll see the Sufi movement. ऐसे ऐसे ऊपर से दे दो, ठीक है, चलेगा. Bhakti and Sufi movement. So we will start with the Bhakti movement. ठीक है, पहले Bhakti movement देख लेंगे and then last would be the Sufi. So as I said to you yesterday that the first, for the very first time, the mention of the Bhakti was there in the Gupta period. ठीक है. So Gupta period is noted for the so many things that many religious developments were there in Hinduism. Then, and first was that consolidation of the Hinduism. Many religious literatures of Hinduism like the Puranas were written, and then Ramayana, Mahabharata were rewritten, rewritten in Sanskrit, in Devanagari, and then after Bhagavad Gita was also separately compiled. Then apart from this, for the first time devotion or the bhakti was mentioned. Then, but there was no further extension of the bhakti after the demise of the Guptas. Then from 7th to 12th, Sullo, I will dictate this part, 7th to 12th century, in between this period, 7th to 12th century period, bhakti movement started to emerge in the Tamil Nadu part. Okay? And here the saints were known as the Alvars and Nayanars. The people who were the proponents of the bhakti movements were Alvars and Nayanars. Then, and who were Alvars? They were the devotee of Vishnu. Okay? Devotee of Vishnu. And Nayanar, devotee of Shiva. Okay? So devotee of Shiva. Now, why these people were successful in kind of spreading or propagating bhakti movement? Because that in Gupta period the language was Sanskrit. Okay? Language was little complex. Sanskrit was little complex language. But these people, rather than using Sanskrit, though they were knowing Sanskrit, but they started to propagate their ideas in the local language of the people. Okay? So they wrote simple poems. Then they wrote simple poems to propagate bhakti. Then, and then there are two types of the poem. The poems which were written by the Alvars, it was known as Prabandham. Just 1 minute. This one. Prabandham and Prabandha Kavyam. Prabandham and Prabandha Kavyam. Then, and the one which was written by the Nayanars, it was known as Tevaram, Tevarams and Tevakrams. Then, so these two kind of poems were written by these people in the simple language, and then it increased the popularity of the bhakti movement. Then, so this is how the beginning is happening. Then, after that, in the 8th century AD, who emerged? Sankaracharya. Okay? He was born in the state of Kerala. So Sankaracharya was born in the state of Kerala, and he gave that particular philosophy, Advaitavad. Already we have mentioned that what is there in the Advaitavad. That was there. Then the next development, important development, was in the 12th century. Then, and this was the Ramanujacharya. Then, so Ramanujacharya heavily emphasized on the bhakti. Already we have discussed about him, that Visishta Advaitavada. Then, so he also emphasized on the bhakti. And there was one disciple of the Ramanujacharya. His name was Ramanand. Ramanand was from Maharashtra. He was of the Maharashtrian origin, but he was one of the favorite disciple of the Ramanujacharya. Then, so he migrated from the Srirangam to Prayag, the present day. That what is the name of Prayagraj, we say, na? So Prayag. So he migrated to Prayag, and where he popularized the bhakti movement. And one of the very important initiative of the Ramanand was that within his cadre he included variety of people, and which included a butcher was also the part of was one of his disciple, a cobbler was one of his disciple, a fisherman was one of his disciple, and very importantly Kabir was also his disciple. Then so this is how bhakti movement came to the North India. Then so you write this beginning, so you write that the first mention of bhakti, the first mention of bhakti can be traced from Gupta period. Can be traced from Gupta period. From Gupta period. When Hinduism was getting consolidated. When Hinduism was getting consolidated. Then further you write that it led to the recognition of bhakti as one more path of salvation. As one more path of salvation, bhakti as one more path of salvation, apart from jnana and karma. Apart from jnana and karma. Apart from jnana and karma. Then this is there. Then you write, change paragraph, and then you write about that, the 7th century AD. So you write, in between 7th century and 12th century AD, in between 7th century and 12th century AD, Bhakti movement received impetus. Bhakti movement received impetus due to the emergence of two type of bhakti saints. Due to the emergence of two types of bhakti saints who were so first you write Alvars, and in brackets you write devotee of Vishnu. Alvars, who were devotee of Vishnu, and Nayanars, devotee of Shiva. Alvars were devotee of Vishnu and Nayanars, devotee of Shiva. Then further, after that you mention devotee of Vishnu and devotee of Shiva. Then you write, they wrote simple poems. In the common language. Which helped in the propagation of Bhakti movement. Then further write, Alvars wrote, after full stop, you write, Alvars wrote Prabandham and Prabandha Kavyam. Alvars wrote Prabandham and Prabandha Kavyam. Then, and Nayanars wrote Tevarams and Tevakrams. Nayanars wrote Tevaram and Tevakrams. Okay? Then you write, after full stop you write, they carried their message of love and devotion, personal devotion, love and personal devotion to the God in various parts of South India. in various parts of South India. Then further you write, they also disregarded, and this part you underline, okay? So they also disregarded the rigidities of caste system. They also disregarded the rigidities of caste system and unnecessary rites, R-I-T-E-S, unnecessary rites, R-I-T-E-S, and rituals of Hinduism. Unnecessary rites and rituals of Hinduism. Unnecessary rites and rituals of Hinduism. So you can see that basically they are negating the idea of the caste system, and they are also negating the idea of these rituals and the sacrifices. Then, and at the same point of time, they are voicing for the love and devotion to the God. Then, so sorry, this is the personal, this is the one such achievement of the Bhakti movement. And then one more very interesting thing about that these people is that they are using the local language. Then, so कभी अगर जो कोई क्वेश्चन आता है एग्जाम में, that if you get a question that who of the following helped in popularizing the regional literature of India, so these are the Bhakti and Sufi both. Then that all the regional literature, either it is Tamil, Kannada, Malayalams, and then here in the North India, Punjabi, ठीक है, Urdu, so these all languages, they were popularized by these Bhakti and Sufi saints only. So they are the greatest exponent of the popularization of the local language. Then, so that's how it is there. Then, so this was the one part. Then you write, change paragraph, and then you write that in 8th century AD, in 8th century AD, Sankaracharya was born in the state of Kerala. Sankaracharya was born in the state of Kerala. Sankaracharya was born in the state of Kerala, who gave the philosophy of Advaitavad. Who gave the philosophy of Advaitavad. Advaitavad. Then, sorry. So Advaitavad, what is there in the Advaitavad? हाँ, monism is there, but बताओ पढ़ा क्या है? हम लोगों ने क्लास में क्या किया था? अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. So ब्रह्म जगत मिथ्या. हाँ, ब्रह्म सत्यम जगत मिथ्या. ठीक है, कि ब्रह्म ही सत्य है और बाकी सब मिथ्या है. ठीक है. So this was there. So Advaitavad already we have kind of that we have written then, and we have discussed that then. So there is no difference between the creator and created, and the difference that we perceive is because of our ignorance, and this ignorance can be eliminated through the embarking on the path of knowledge. That was there. Then you write, in the beginning of 12th century AD, in the beginning of 12th century AD, Sri Ramanujacharya gave the philosophy of Visishta Advaitavad. Gave the philosophy of Visishta Advaitavad. Only you add Visishta in this Advaitavad. Visishta Advaitavad. Then, where he emphasized on Bhakti Marg to salvation. Where he emphasized on Bhakti Marg to salvation. Bhakti Marg to salvation. Then you write, one of the disciple of Ramanuj, Ramanand, who was from Maharashtra, Ramanand, one of the disciple of Ramanuj, Ramanand, who was from Maharashtra, popularized the idea of bhakti, popularized the idea of bhakti in North India. In North India. Popularized the idea of bhakti in North India. Then further, right, he made Prayagraj, Prayagraj, the base of his preaching. Prayagraj, the base of his preaching. Done? Base of his preaching. So before moving into the other parts of the North India, okay, I will discuss one last from the South India, and that you must have come across, Lingayat movement. Okay? So Lingayat movement happened in the 13th century AD, and then who was the founder of the Lingayat movement? Basavana. Okay? So Basavana was the founder of the Lingayat movement. And what is the difference between the what is the Lingayat all about? Not the difference. What is that all about? Whom they worship? They worship Shiva, okay? But they worship the crude form of the Shiva. Crude form means that they don't worship the human form of the Shiva, but they worship the Linga form of the Shiva. Okay? So that's how it is there. And if you see the composition of the Karnataka, near about 27% of the population is the Lingayat. Then even the chief minister of the Karnataka, Yedurappa, he is also a Lingayat. Then, so their practices are little different. Then, first of all, they are very progressive. That's what we need to write, that they are very progressive. How they are progressive? That they don't recognize, they also disregard the caste rigidity. Then they talk about the upliftment of the women. In their cadre, nobody is discriminated on the basis of the caste. Sudras are also there in the cadre. Women are also there on the cadre, in the cadre. So they don't discriminate on the basis of the gender and the caste. Then they talk about the widow remarriage. And they talk about the women's upliftment also. Okay? And they not only talk about the widow remarriage, but they were the kind of that, in this era, they were the first people who said that there must not be pre-puberty marriage. Then means that adulthood hone se pehle marriage nahi hona chahiye. So they were very progressive people. And one of the practices of the Lingayat which differ from the mainline Hinduism is that they don't cremate their dead, they bury their dead. Okay? This you must be knowing. Then, so this is how these Lingayats are there. So you write that Lingayat movement. Then, so you write, in the beginning of 14th century, means that 1300 onwards. Then, so 14th century, Lingayat movement was consolidated. Lingayat movement was consolidated in the state of Karnataka. Lingayat movement was consolidated in the state of Karnataka by Basavana. Okay? By Basavana. Then further right, Lingayats were, Lingayats are bhi likh sakte ho because they are still there. So Lingayats are devotees of Lord Shiva. Lingayats are devotees of Lord Shiva. Then further right, they believe in the crude form of Shiva. They believe in the crude form of crude, C-R-U-D-E, crude form of Shiva, that is Linga. That is Linga. And they always carry a ling pendant. They always carry a ling pendant with them. Ling pendant means that wo jo gale mein pehante hain na, pendant. So that kind of pendant they carry. Okay, they wear over here. Then, so a linga pendant with them. Then you write, they were very progressive and never discriminated on the basis of caste and gender. never discriminated on the basis of caste and gender. Then फिर उसके बाद लिखना, they disregarded caste system, they disregarded caste system, caste system and complex Hindu rituals, and complex Hindu rituals. Disregarded caste system and complex Hindu rituals, full stop. Then you write that they talked about the upliftment of the women. They talked about the upliftment of the women, widow remarriage, and they also advised that there must not be pre-puberty marriage. Pre-puberty marriage. Then, so pre-puberty marriage. Then, so this is about the Lingayat movement from the Karnataka. Last year it was a kind of that, it was there in the news. And why it was there in the news last year? Because it was given the minority status in the state of Karnataka. Okay? So Siddaramaiah government, he was the one who gave the minority last year in 2017. It was given the minority status then. So that's why it was there in the news. Now, so this is all about the South India. Now we'll move to the North India. So North India, how we are going to proceed, that we will write the name of the saints and the speciality of those saints. So let's start with that. Here North means that's a central, starting from the central India. So the first saint you write his name, Namdev. So one by one we'll write all those saints and then their features. Okay? So Namdev. So you write about him. He was a saint from Maharashtra. Namdev was a saint from Maharashtra. Then further you write, he was a tailor, kapda silne wale, okay? So he was a tailor, stitcher, dress, that tailor, okay? So he was a tailor who had taken to banditry. He was a tailor who had taken to banditry before becoming saint. मतलब पहले कपड़े सिलते थे, फिर उसके बाद इन लोगों के कपड़े काटते थे, मतलब चोरी करते थे. That is banditry, and then he became the saint. Then, so banditry, that is the chori karna. So then you write that before becoming saint, okay? Before becoming saint. Taken to banditry before becoming saint. Then full stop. Then you write, he wrote his ideas in Marathi language. Which was about love and devotion to the God. Love and devotion to the God. Then one more thing, right? That he also engaged himself in discussion with the Sufi saints of Delhi. Then next you write, after Namdev, Tukaram, okay? Tukaram was also from the Maharashtra, okay? So Tukaram likh lo, you write Tukaram. Then he was also saint from Maharashtra. And then what is his speciality? He founded the cult, Vithoba cult, okay? So he was one of the founders of the Vithoba cult in Maharashtra. So you write, he was one of the founder of Vithoba cult. In Maharashtra. Vithoba cult in Maharashtra. ठीक है? Then the followers of Tukaram are often referred as saints of Pandharpur. Saints of Pandharpur. अच्छा, this was already asked in the paper, ठीक है? 2013 also, 2014 also. लगातार 2 साल पूछा था. 2013 and 2014, and the reason was that in the tableau, Republic Day tableau of the 2013, that Saints of Pandharpur करके ही महाराष्ट्र का tableau था, ठीक है? Where the Tukaram and these all people were represented. Then, so that's why it was asked. Now, the next one you write Nimbark. And you write, Nimbark was also from South India, but he spent most of his lifetime in Mathura. Then further write, after that you write Mathura, then you write, he was a great devotee of Radha and Krishna. Then after that Nimbark you write Vallabhacharya. He was born in a Telugu Brahmin family. In Banaras. So his family was Telugu, but he was born in the Banaras. Okay? So Telugu Brahmin family in Banaras in 1479. Telugu Brahmin family in Banaras in 1479. Acha, related to him, there was one question in the, I think it was 2014. Okay? 2014 there was a question related to Vallabhacharya. Then, so the question was that he founded one particular sampradaya, and name of the sampradaya was the Pusti Marg Sampradaya. Then, so he created a community, name of the community was the Pusti Marg Sampradaya, which means that path of the divine grace. Then, and this was the question exactly which was asked in the 2014 prelims, that who founded Pusti Marg. Then option में क्या क्या दिया हुआ था? Vallabhacharya, Madhavacharya, and then the Ramanujacharya. So that is the answer is the Vallabhacharya. Then, so you write that he was devotee of Krishna. And Lord Shiva. Then you write, he founded the Pusti Marg Sampradaya. So you see spelling here, Pushti, Pusti Marg Sampradaya. He founded Pusti Marg Sampradaya, and brackets में लिख लेना, path of divine grace. Pusti Marg Sampradaya, path of divine grace. Then, so this is about this particular Vallabhacharya. Then after Vallabhacharya, just 1 minute. So next you write Tulsidas. So you all know that Tulsidas, and he was contemporary of which ruler? Akbar. Okay? So you write, he was contemporary of Akbar. And devotee of Lord Ram. And he wrote Ramacharit Manas. Ramcharitmanas. He wrote Ramcharitmanas. Done. Then उसके बाद लिखना after तुलसीदास सूरदास. सूरदास, ठीक है. And Surdas was the contemporary of the Kabir, but he was blind. Then he was blind and he was a devotee of the Krishna, and he was in which city? Kasi. Okay? So you write that Surdas was blind person. Surdas was blind person, but the great devotee of Lord Krishna. Great devotee of Lord Krishna, who practiced bhakti from Kashi. Who practiced bhakti from Kashi. Then after Surdas, you write Mirabai. Mirabai. Okay? So Mirabai was from which place? Which place? हाँ, राजस्थान में मरता. हाँ, नागौर. But she was married to the, हाँ, what is the name of the person? Bhojraj of Marta. ठीक है, MERTA. वही ना? So she was from Rajasthan. You write. She was from Rajasthan. She was from Rajasthan and ardent devotee of Krishna. Ardent devotee of Krishna. इसमें बहुत कुछ है नहीं, बस ऐसे ही लिखते चलना है हम लोगों को, ठीक है. And you all know that she wrote poems related to the Krishna, ठीक है. So that is all about them. Now, the important part of that, this particular bhakti movement, is that these all saints that we have written, listen to this part. These all saints, these all names we have written, these all saints are categorized as the Sagud Bhakti saint, ठीक है. Sagud Bhakti saint. Sagud का मतलब that those Bhakti saints who believe in a particular form of the God, ठीक है. So, for example, that if they say Krishna, so there is a idea of the Krishna in their mind that he will look like this, he will have a सांवला रंग, this kind of thing would be there. So एक particular image होगा दिमाग में. But there is another category of the saint who are called as Nirguna saint. ठीक है? So Nirguna are those bhakti saints who don't believe in the shape of the God, they believe in the shapeless, formless God. And Nirguna में दो saints थे, one is the Kabir and another is the Guru Nanak. ठीक है? So we'll talk about them. So first you write that these all saints are the Sagud saints. Sagud. S-A-G-U-N-A. Sagud saint. Saguna saint. Saguna. ठीक है? So Sagun saint who believed in a particular shape of the God. Particular shape of the God, and since they are believing in the particular shape of the God, so they will practice idolatry. ठीक है? Murti puja they will practice. Then so you write hence they practiced idolatry. Hence they practiced idolatry. Then you write paragraph change कर लिखना that there is another category of the bhakti saint. There is another category of bhakti saint. There is another category of bhakti saint who are known as Nirguna saint. Nirguna saint. Who are known as Nirguna saint. अच्छा, एक भक्ति में सगुण में एक छूट गया है अभी. निर्गुण पहले लिख लो and then I'll talk about that. श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु. ठीक है, या निर्गुण डेफिनेशन लिख के छोड़ देते हैं, बाद में निर्गुण का डिस्क्रिप्शन कर लेंगे. ठीक है, सो यू राइट द डेफिनेशन दैट निर्गुण सेंट. सो यू राइट दैट they do not believe in idolatry. They do not believe in idolatry, and they say that God is shapeless and formless. God is shapeless and formless. God is shapeless and formless. Then Then you write Kabir and Guru Nanak. Kabir and Guru Nanak were the two famous proponents. Kabir and Guru Nanak were two famous proponents of Nirgun Bhakti. Of Nirgun Bhakti. So we'll talk about that. We'll write about little bit about the Kabir. But उसके पहले एक काम करो, पहले चैतन्य महाप्रभु लिख लो. He is a Sagun saint. So he is important also. So you write Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. ठीक है? And you write about him that his original name was Vishambhar Mishra. His original name was Vishambhar Mishra, and he belonged to a Udiya Brahmin family. Vishambhar Mishra, and he belonged to a Udiya Brahmin family. Udiya Brahmin family. Then, but his birth happened in the West Bengal, and that is the place is the Nadia district of the West Bengal. Okay? So you write his birth was at Nadia district of West Bengal. Nadia district of, and Nadia को कभी कभी बोलते हैं नवाद्वीप. ठीक है? So that also you can write Navadweep. Nadia district of West Bengal. Then further write, he was a devotee of Lord Krishna. He was devotee of Lord Krishna and preached intense devotion and love to Krishna. And preached intense devotion and love to Krishna. Intense devotion and love to Krishna. Intense devotion and love to Krishna. Then further you write that he also popularized Kirtan music in the Bhakti. He also popularized Kirtan music in Bhakti, and he gave the philosophy of Achintya Bhed Abhed. Achintya Bhed Abhed. Achintya Bhed Abhed. ठीक है? So Achintya Bhed Abhed. He gave the philosophy of Achintya Bhed Abhed. What is that? I'm coming to that. ठीक है? So that he said that there is an inconceivable difference between the humans and the God. ठीक है? So you write in the bracket, which means inconceivable difference between the humans and God. Conceivable. Conceivable. conceive करना होता है ना, that is conceivable. ठीक है? So inconceivable difference between the humans and the God. बस इतना ही याद रख लो, इसके आगे डिस्क्रिप्शन में मत जाना, नहीं तो फिलॉसफी ऑप्शनल हो जाएगा. ठीक है? So inconceivable difference between the humans and God. Then listen, one more part. That the last part is that he is the one who started the, yesterday we discussed Jatra tradition. Okay? So you're right. He also started Jatra tradition in Bengal. He also started Jatra tradition in Bengal. Then this is all about that. This and एक last लिख लो. He was a Sagun saint. हो सकता है बाद में पढ़ते वक्त भूल जाओ. So he was a Sagun saint. नहीं तो फिर then Sagun, Saguna. Now last two in the Bhakti would be the Guru Nanak and the Kabir. So first you write Kabir. So any idea about the Kabir? Do you know anything about the Kabir? That nobody knows that he was born to, it is said that story is that he was born to a widow. Okay? He was born to a widow, but that widow was so ashamed of that birth that what she did, that she left the boy at the house of the one Julaha, okay, weaver. Then, and that weaver was the one that husband and wife, they raised Kabir. Then, and he was born in a Hindu family, but he was raised by a Muslim weaver family. Then, and then he was a disciple of the Ramanand, but at the same point of time, he was disciple of Ramanand, but he was believing in the Nirankar. Nirankar means the God who is shapeless and formless. Then, so that's how it is there. And he was very well respected among both the communities, Hindus and Muslims also. Then, and his sayings, whatever, he was illiterate, but his sayings were full of wit and the wisdom. And later on when he died, so his followers compiled his sayings, and they were compiled in two books. One is the Kabir Granthavali and another is the Bijak. Okay? So in do mein likha. So you write that Kabir was born to a Hindu widow. Kabir was born to a Hindu widow, but he was raised by a Muslim weaver family. Then you write that Kabir was disciple of Ramanand. Kabir was disciple of Ramanand, who believed in Nirankar. ठीक है? Then brackets में लिखना shapeless and formless God, who believed in Nirankar. Shapeless and formless God. Then you write, he was very critical of the existing social order. He was very critical of existing social order, and he made a strong plea. For Hindu-Muslim unity. He made a strong plea, P-L-E-A, plea for Hindu-Muslim unity. Okay? Strong plea for Hindu-Muslim unity. Then you write, his sayings were full of wisdom. His sayings means the preachings. Okay? So his sayings were full of wisdom, which were later compiled into two books, that is Kabir Granthavali and Bijak. Kabir Granthavali and Bijak. Then you write Guru Nanak. And where he was born, Guru Nanak? Talwandi in Pakistan. Okay? So you write that he was born in a rich merchant family of Talwandi. Rich merchant family of Talwandi in Pakistan. Talwandi in Pakistan. Then what is it? He was also not Brahmin but Hindu trader family. It was a Hindu merchant family, trader family was there. Okay? So then, yes, he was a later on he became Sardar. He was born in a Hindu family. ठीक है? That's a different thing. ठीक है? So मुझे हंसी आ रही है. सरदार बाद में बने ना, पहले तो he was from the Hindu family. Then you're right. मैं भूल गया क्या बोलना था. No, तलवंडी के बाद क्या बोलना था, कुछ बताना था मेरे को. From the so listen that what was there, that when he was kind of growing, so from the very beginning he was interested in the study of the spiritualism, okay? And he made a plea to his father that I want to roam all over India to learn the spiritualism. And then he was of the view from the very beginning that I don't want to learn only spiritualism only from the Hinduism, but also from the Islam. So he was the one that who made a Hajj Yatra also. Okay? He did a Hajj Yatra also, and then he learned from the Sufi saints also, and then the Hindus also. And that's how he came up with his own philosophy of the Nirankar. And he was accompanied by a person, okay, and the name of the person was the Mardana. And Mardana was all the time he was playing one musical instrument. The musical instrument was Rabab, and Guru Nanak was singing to that. And this singing is known as the Guruvani and Shabad. ठीक है? सुना होगा तुम लोगों ने गुरुवानी और शब्द. So Guruvani and Shabad. What is Guruvani or Shabad? एक ओमकार, एक सतनाम. Yes. So that is Guruvani or Shabad. ठीक है? So it became part and parcel of the Sikhism. And then Sikhism also takes the sayings from the Bijak and Kabir Granthavali. ठीक है? So it has incorporated many of the sayings of the Kabir, and then the already that Guru Nanak is there. And one more thing they incorporated was the Baba Farid, Sufi saint Baba Farid. So his teachings were also incorporated into the Sikhism. So you're right that Guru Nanak from the very beginning was interested in the study of spiritualism, from all the religions. From all the religions. Then you write, he toured, T-O-U-R-E-D, toured all over India. He toured all over India and also visited Mecca. He toured all, T-O-U-R-E-D, toured all over India and also visited Mecca. Then later, he gave his philosophy of Nirankar. And started preaching in the form of songs known as Guruvani or Shabad. Guruvani or Shabad. ठीक है? So this is all about that, the Bhakti movement. ठीक है? This is all about the Bhakti movement. Now we'll move to the Sufism. ठीक है? Heading लिख लो, Sufism. So before starting Sufism, can you tell me the definition of how come the word Sufi comes to the picture? That what is the meaning of the word Sufi? Not? अरे बताओ तो सही, थोड़ा तेज तो बोलो. What is that? Not believing? नहीं. इस नहीं. What is? Tasawwuf. Yes, very good. Tasawwuf. ठीक है? So Sufi movement. See, the word Sufi comes from the Suf. ठीक है? And Suf is what? A piece of woolen cloth. ठीक है? And a piece of woolen cloth, and this piece of woolen cloth is the symbol of Tasawwuf. ठीक है? So this is the symbol of Tasawwuf, and Tasawwuf means that Garibi. ठीक है? Means that asceticism. Oh, sorry. piece of woolen cloth. ठीक है? So it is not the Shanti of woolen cloth. ठीक है? So you write that it derives its name, Sufi movement. You write it derives its name from the word shuf, S-U-F-F, from the word suf. It derives its name from the word shuf, which means a piece of woolen cloth. Piece of woolen cloth. A piece of woolen cloth, which is symbol of tasawwuf, which is symbol of tasawwuf. And brackets में meaning लिख लेना, that symbol of asceticism and poverty. Symbol of asceticism, symbol of asceticism and poverty. Then symbol of asceticism and poverty. Now listen that how this started to emerge. Sufi movement, these all started to emerge from the Western Asia, okay? And then the Arabia, Western Asia and the Arabia. What was the background of this emergence of the Sufi movement then? So this is the fifth call, okay, in the today's class. So see that in the early centuries of the Islam, and early centuries means that here I mean by the 10th century AD, okay? 10th and then the 11th century AD. Then, so what happened in the early centuries of the Islam, many of the people from the Islam, they became circumspect about the political religious institution of Islam, that is the caliphate. And why they were becoming circumspect about that caliphate? Because caliphate was moving towards the materialism and then the luxurious lifestyle. Okay? So those who were the representatives of the caliphate were there, and you all know that caliphate is the most respected institution in the Islam. Then, so when the most respected institution, political religious institution of Islam is moving towards materialism and then amassing wealth and leading a luxurious life, so but obvious those who believe in the purity, they will be questioning them. Then, so in the early centuries of the Islam, when materialism and the luxurious lifestyle was the epicenter in the caliphate, so then people started to criticize them. Some of the Islamic people started to criticize them. And what they criticized, so these people, these Sufis, who call them Sufis, so they criticized the dogmatic explanations which were given by those theologians, and also they also criticize scholastic methods. Okay? So I need to know that what do you understand by dogmatic explanation and then scholastic methods? What is dogmatic explanation? What is that? Very good, exactly. The rigidity. Okay? Dogmatic explanation, that for example, that if I'm saying something to you, okay, and all of you say, that all of you or some of you say that, sir, there is another meaning of this one. But when I say to you again that, no, this is the only meaning, okay, whatever you are saying, that is incorrect. That is the dogmatic explanation. That you believe that whatever you are saying, that is only correct. Others are incorrect. Okay? So you can see in the Indian polity itself that there are so many dogmatic explanations. Then, so dogmatic explanations were there. Then what is scholastic methods? Scholastic का मतलब क्या होगा? Logical? नहीं. लॉजिकल होगा तो क्रिटिसाइज क्यों करेंगे? नो. Yes? Kind of. You are very close to that. I will say that creating a school of thought. ठीक है? Creating a school of thought. ठीक है? Means that we do have the leftism, rightism, ठीक है, centrism, ठीक है. So कुछ leftist हैं, कुछ rightist हैं. Leftist ये बोलते हैं कि rightist right नहीं है, और rightist ये बोलते हैं कि leftist left नहीं है, ठीक है. Centrist ये बोलते हैं कि हम लोग center से ऊपर हैं, ठीक है. So you got that. So everybody has their own opinion. There is a school method, ठीक है, that school of thought, and people do kind of believe that I belong to this school of thought. No, don't belong to any school of thought. You judge. It is just like that. अच्छा नाम तो मैंने तुम लोग को नहीं पढ़ाया, पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस में हम लोग पढ़ाते हैं. सो नाम में बोलते हैं कि नाम जब बन रहा था, सो नॉन अलाइनमेंट मूवमेंट, सो यूएस क्रिटिसाइज्ड इंडिया दैट इट इज अ इमोरल न्यूट्रलिटी. सो देन जवाहरलाल नेहरू एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ सेड दैट इट इज नॉट न्यूट्रलिटी, इट इज आवर फ्रीडम, इंटीग्रिटी एंड सोवरेनिटी टू डिसाइड दैट हु इज राइट एट अ पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, एंड वी विल सपोर्ट द पर्सन और द कंट्री according to the merit of the case. For example, that you two people are there, okay? And then going by the neutrality, I will not support you, I will not support you. But the neutrality meant that I will be seeing the case of you two, okay? And then I'll decide that you were wrong, she is right. Then I'll support her. So this was that. Done. So this is the method of that when you follow the scholastic method. So basically you are aligning with somebody. You are not just free to decide. Then, so this is the scholastic method कि एक school of thought बना दिया और बाकी लोग उसको follow करो, ठीक है? So this kind of things were going on, and this dogmatic explanation and scholastic methods were there, and then on the basis of this dogmatic explanation and scholastic methods, they were giving the interpretation of the Quran. So at this point of time, they said that the Sufis said that we will not follow you, ठीक है? We will not follow you, and since Prophet Muhammad, ठीक है, he himself got these all kind of knowledge and this all kind of wisdom because of his own personal experience with the God. So they started to emphasize on the personal experience with the God. कि meditation करो, ठीक है, meditation, you delve into the meditation, spiritualism, and you yourself will have a conversation with the God, a personal experience with the God, and then you will get the insight what to do, rather than following the dogmatic explanation of this Islamic theologians. You got that? That why it emerged. Then, so likh lo, isme ko likh lo, that in the early centuries of the Islam, a group of religious-minded people, in the early centuries of Islam, a group of religious-minded people called Sufis, group of religious-minded people called Sufis turned to asceticism. This one, okay? So turned to asceticism and mysticism. Turned to asceticism and mysticism. Turned to asceticism and mysticism in protest against the growing materialism, of the caliphate. Growing materialism of the caliphate. And growing materialism of the caliphate. Then further you write, after this you write, growing materialism of the caliphate as a religious and political institution. As a religious and political institution. As a religious and political institution. Then you write, they were critical of dogmatic definitions. They were critical of dogmatic explanations, definitions, and scholastic methods of interpreting the Quran, and Sunnah, Sunna, interpreting Quran and Sunnah. What is Sunnah? Lifestyle of, the traditions which were created by the Prophet Muhammad. Okay? So brackets में लिख लेना, traditions of the Prophet. Traditions of the Prophet. Sunnah. Yes? सुन्नत, सुन्नत, ठीक है. नहीं, बट इंग्लिश में इसको सुनना ही लिखते हैं. जब ऐसे बोलते हैं तो नो, आई हैव टेकन इट फ्रॉम द वेरी गुड बुक ऑफ दैट. इट्स, आई हैव टेकन दिस वर्ड, दैट स्पेलिंग SUNNA. हाँ प्रोनाउंसिएशन डिफरेंस हो सकता है। हिंदी में किस में सुन्नत, अरबिक में सुन्नत बोलते हैं। अच्छा इंग्लिश में सुन्ना ही बोलते हैं, ठीक है। सो समझ गए ना तुम लोग, समझ गए ना, बस इससे मतलब है, ठीक है। चलो देन आगे लिखो, अडॉप्टेड बाय द थियोलॉजियंस, अडॉप्टेड बाय द थियोलॉजियंस। नहीं नहीं उसी में of interpreting the Quran and Sunnah adopted by the theologians, ठीक है। And then next paragraph you write, ठीक है, change paragraph and then you write instead theologians, then theology का spelling नहीं पता है, theologians, then चलो आगे लिखो, instead they laid emphasis on seeking, instead they laid emphasis on seeking salvation through, they laid emphasis on seeking salvation through intense devotion, instead they laid emphasis on seeking salvation through intense devotion, seeking salvation through intense devotion and love for God by following his commands, and love for God by following his commands, and intense devotion and love for God by following his commands। इतने स्लो स्पीड में लिखोगे ना तो तुम लोग का एग्जाम में सब कुछ छूट जाएगा, ठीक है। मैं 5 बार तुम लोग को रिपीट कर रहा हूं, लिखो तेज लिखो। चलो आगे लिखो, the Sufis thus sought, the Sufis thus sought, S-A-U-G-H-T, sought an interpretation of the Quran, sought an interpretation of the Quran on the basis of, the Sufis thus sought an interpretation of Quran on the basis of their personal experience, on the basis of their personal experience, on the basis of their personal experience. Then, so on the basis of their personal experience. So this is the background, that how it emerged. We will talk about the proponents of the Sufism in India, but before that I will tell you one more tradition, ठीक है। So Sufism जो लोग सूफी फॉलो करते हैं, ठीक है, so there is a place called as the Khanka, they live in the Khanka, ठीक है, and Khanka is what? It is the Sufi hospice, then the place where the Sufi people live, ठीक है, so Sufi hospice, then and Khanka, there is always a head of the Khanka, ठीक है, and the head of the Khanka is known as the Sheikh or Peer, ठीक है, Sheikh or Peer. So the head of the Khanka is Sheikh or Peer, and all the followers of the Sheikh or Peer are called as Murid. ठीक है, so all the followers, so this is he is the master and these are the disciple. इसको सेंटेंस में नहीं लिखेंगे, ऐसे ही लिख लो, ठीक है। सो दैट द प्लेस ऑफ द सूफीज इज नोन एज खानका, प्लेस ऑफ द सूफी इज नोन एज खानका और सूफी हॉस्पाइस। Sufi hospice, then you write, it is controlled by a Sheikh, Peer or Murshid. Sheikh, Peer or Murshid. Sheikh, Peer or Murshid. Then, and the followers of master are known as Murid. 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 Then, now, next part. Now listen. So, the teachings of the Sheikh. Now listen this part. The teachings of the Sheikh and how come that this particular teaching is inculcated by the Murid is known as the Silsila. Okay? So, the teachings of the Sheikh or Pir or Murshid, and how come it is inculcated by the Murid disciple, it is known as the Silsila. So what is Silsila? It is unbroken linkage between the teachings of the Murshid and the Murid. Okay? So you write that the unbroken linkage between the Murshid and Murid is known as Silsila. Linkage between the Murshid and Murid is known as Silsila. Okay? So that's how there are so many different silsilas, that if one master is there and his disciples is there, so that is one silsila. For example, that in India, the very famous silsila was the Chistiya. Okay? Then other was the Suhrawadi, then Naqshbandiya, then Kalandar, okay? Then the Malangs, Haidaris, then so these all were there. So different kind of silsilas are there. Then and then these silsilas, they move to the different parts of the world and to popularize the Sufism. Then so that we need to write. So famous silsilas in India. You write famous silsilas in Sufi silsilas in India. Famous Sufi silsilas in India. So very first you write Chistiya silsila. Chistiya silsila. And this silsila came to India somewhere around 1192. Okay? He was born around 1135, but he came to India. Moinuddin Chishti came to India around 1192, just before the Battle of Tarain. Okay? There is a story regarding that Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti came to Ajmer. Then, and when he came to Ajmer, so earlier he was in Delhi. Then from Delhi he moved to Ajmer. So when he moved to Delhi, so his own relatives and then his own ministers, they started to complain about the Moinuddin Chishti, that he is an Islamic person and he need to be kind of that removed from the Ajmer. Then so Prithviraj Chauhan sent one of his chief priests, Ramadev, to kind of that to request him to go from Ajmer. Then so when Ramadev reached to Ajmer and to the Moinuddin Chishti, so he was so influenced with the personality of Moinuddin Chishti that he himself became the disciple of the Moinuddin Chishti. So then this news came to Prithviraj Chauhan that this has happened. So Prithviraj Chauhan decided that he must be some important and very supernatural personality, so he must remain over there. But after some point of time, Prithviraj Chauhan was killed in that particular Battle of Tarain. Then, so you write that this silsila was established in India. This silsila was established in India by Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti. Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti. Okay? Then in 1192, he made Ajmer the base of his teaching. He made Ajmer the base of his teaching. Based of his teaching. ठीक है? Then, अच्छा, एक सूफिज्म में इस्लाम से क्या अंतर है? You need to understand that why Sufis were criticized by the Islamic people themselves, that Sufis did not believe in the namaz and the hajj. ठीक है? So because of that, they were heavily criticized in their beginning. ठीक है? But later on, they were also incorporated into the fold of the Islam. Then, so further you write that he was popularly known as Garib Nawaz. He was popularly known as Garib Nawaz. And why so Garib Nawaz? Servant of the poor. ठीक है? So, servant of the poor. Then further right, he criticized the orthodox practices of both Islam and Hinduism. Both Islam and Hinduism. And disregarded caste rigidities. disregarded caste rigidities. Caste rigidities. Then, so he was the first saint. Then the second saint was that Fariduddin Ganje Shakar. Fariduddin Ganje Shakar. He is the second. And he also we are writing the saints from the Chistiya Silsila. So he is also a Chistiya. Okay? So Fariduddin Ganje Shakar. Okay? Then you write that he made his base in Ajodhan. Where is Ajodhan? Ajodhan, present day Pakistan. Okay? And he made his base in Ajodhan and also in Faridkot. Where is Faridkot? Pakistan or then India? Okay? Pakistani side Punjab. Okay? The Punjab of the Pakistani side. So Ajodhan and Faridkot. Then you write, he was popularly known as Baba Farid. He was popularly known as Baba Farid, and his teachings were incorporated in Sikhism. His teachings were incorporated in Sikhism. Then third Chistiya saint you write, and he is the Nizamuddin Aulia. Nizamuddin Aulia and of Delhi. Nizamuddin Aulia of Delhi. Done? And Nizamuddin Aulia, his time period I know, so मैं लिख दे रहा हूँ that what is there. He was there from 1235 to 1325. ठीक है? Which means that he has seen the rule of all the 7 sultans of the Delhi Sultanate. He was there in Delhi from 1235, means that starting from the Iltutmish until the Balban, that all the rulers he has seen. And he has also seen the rule of the Alauddin Khilji. Okay? So, this was there. Now, you write that about that Nizamuddin Aulia, that Nizamuddin Aulia was very critical. Nizamuddin Aulia was very critical of the rule of Delhi Sultans. And why he was critical? Because these people were not paying attention to the masses, to the poor people. Okay? So you write that he often complained that sultans living a luxurious life at the expense of the masses, sultans living a luxurious life at the expense of the masses do not pay any heed. Heed, H-E-E-D, any heed for their development. H-E-E-D, any heed for their development. Do not pay any heed for their development. Then, there was one event that Alauddin Khilji was there, and Amir Khusro was a famous disciple of the Nizamuddin Aulia. So he was very close to Nizamuddin Aulia. So one fine day, Alauddin Khilji sent a message to the Nizamuddin Aulia through Amir Khusro that he said that I wanted to kind of meet you. So then Nizamuddin Aulia was so angry at that point of time that he said to Amir Khusro that there are 2 doors in my Sufi hospice. If he will enter from that, I will move out from the other one. Okay? So he never met any of the Delhi Sultans. So you write that he saw the rule of 7 sultans of Delhi. He saw the rule of 7 sultans of Delhi. 7 sultans of Delhi, but never paid a visit to them. Never paid a visit to them. Then, now, so next you write, this is the Chistiya Silsila में 3 लोग थे, एंड एक और नाम लिख लो, लास्ट नेम लिख लो, ही इज ऑल्सो फ्रॉम दिल्ली एंड विल नॉट राइट एनीथिंग एक्स्ट्रा. सो लास्ट चिश्तिया famous saint was the Nasiruddin Chirag Delhi. Nasiruddin Chirag Delhi. And he was called as the Lamp of Delhi. He was called as Lamp of Delhi. Nasiruddin Chirag Delhi. Then next silsila you write Suhrawadi. Suhrawadi silsila. Suhrawadi silsila. So listen about this Suhrawadi silsila. There was only one famous saint from the Sufi saint from the Suhrawadi, and his name was Sheikh Bahauddin Zakaria. Okay? So you write that Sheikh Bahauddin Zakaria was the famous saint of Suhrawadi. Was the famous saint of Suhrawadi. Famous saint of Suhrawadi. Then, acha, difference क्या था Suhrawadi and Chistiya में? He was also the contemporary of this particular Nizamuddin Auliya. Then, but what happened that he accepted the office position in the Delhi Sultanate. Then, and at the time of the Iltutmish, he accepted the office position in the Delhi Sultanate, and Iltutmish gave him the title of Sheikhul Islam, means that the leader of the Islam. Then, so you write that Suhrawadis accepted office position. Suhrawadis accepted office position in Delhi Sultanate. Accepted office position in Delhi Sultanate. In Delhi Sultanate. As such, Iltutmish gave him the title of Sheikh-ul Islam. Gave him the title of Sheikhul Islam, which means leader of Islam. Leader of Islam, which means leader of Islam. Then, now I need to talk about one last thing, and then there I mentioned one different category of the Sufis. Okay? So first of all, before mentioning the different category of this particular Sufis, there are two types of Sufi. Listen carefully. There are two types of Sufi in the world. They are known as, one is known as Bashara. Okay? And another is known as the Beshara. Okay? So Bashara and Beshara. Okay? So what does these two words signify? Listen carefully. Then, what is this? Shara. Yes, very good. So Shara signifies to the Shariat, the Islamic law. Then, and the Bab means with. Okay? And Be means without. Okay? So Basaras were those Sufi who accept Shariat, Islamic law. Okay? And they were those people who did not accepted the Islamic law. Okay? So you write that there are two types of Sufi. There are two types of Sufi in the world. There are two types of Sufi in the world. So first you write Basara. Two types of Sufi. First you write Bashara, who accepted Shariat. Who accepted Shariat. And what is Shariat? Islamic law. Shariat, Islamic law. Am I right? This is spelling Shariat. So Islamic law. Then you write Beshara. ठीक है? And actually हिंदी में एक वर्ड यूज होता है, हिंदी एंड उर्दू दोनों में यूज होता है, बेशरम. हाँ, एक्चुअली that is derived from the Beshara only. ठीक है? Why it is derived from that they in the Urdu people used to say that कितने बड़े बेशरम हैं that they belong to Islam and they don't follow the Shariat. Okay? So it is derived from the same word. And Basra was that there is a place in the Iraq that is known as the, अब हम बोलते हैं उसको Bashara, ठीक है? That is Bashara, ठीक है? And Basra was the place where the people, the Sufis who believed in the Shariat, they habitated, ठीक है? So that's how it is there. You got that? So you write that Besharas were those Sufi who did not believed in Shariat. Were those Sufis who did not believed in Shariat. Then, so now I'm going to all these Chistiya and Suhrawadi, they were Bashara. ठीक है? Now we will mention about the Besara Sufis. ठीक है? So एक heading लिख लेना, Besara Sufis. Then, so now you write that some of the mystics, in this you write, some of the mystics, M-Y-S-T-I-C-S, some of the mystics gave radical interpretation of Sufi ideals, full stop. Then many of them scorned खानका, मतलब खानका छोड़ दिया. Many of them scorned खानका and took to mendicancy. What is mendicancy? Mendicancy and celibacy. What is mendicancy? नहीं पता. Mendicancy means that भीख मांगना, ठीक है? दक्षिणा नहीं भिक्षा मांगना, ठीक है? So that is a Hindu tradition. They started to follow this Hindu tradition that भिक्षा मांगना and celibacy, ठीक है? So they took to mendicancy, ठीक है? And celibacy. Then further right, they ignored the rituals and observed extreme form of asceticism For example, so you write the name of these Sufis, okay? For example, so you write the very first one, Qalandars, okay? So Qalandars, then you write Madaris, then Haidaris and Malang. And these four are referred as the Besara Sufi saint. Okay? And you must have heard that song, Damadam Mast Kalandar. Okay? That is related to the Sufis only. Okay? So with that note, our syllabus is over, art and culture is over. आधा अधूरा क्यों? So, अब इसके अलावा, ठीक है? What I said that कि वो दो chapters that you read from the printed notes. Otherwise, there is no requirement of reading any other book from the market. ठीक है? NCERTs, whatever I have suggested, उसको देख लेना. But I don't prescribe any book from the market. ठीक है? So this much would be more than enough. And then whenever you want to contact me, so have I given you my number? ठीक है? So I'm giving you the number, but please send a message before kind of that. Call करोगे उठेगा नहीं. ठीक है? Send a message, I'll call back. And send your name and the batch. ठीक है? What is which one? बाद में देख लेना, ठीक है? हाँ, वो तुम्हारा पर्सनल क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है? So that is there. So 9810616858. So you can WhatsApp on this number, ठीक है? And name, batch, please tell, ठीक है? Then accordingly I'll report back. चलो, thank you. He started Sikhism and then he became the Sardar. हाँ. No, Sardar is a term. दैट इज जस्ट अ टर्म. कोई सरदार कैसे बना, ये डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन है. इवन आई विल हैव टू फाइंड. एंड देन देखो सर, मतलब नोबडी इज देयर इन द क्लास. थोड़ी बुद्धि थोड़ी धीरे चलनी चाहिए, तभी सरदार बनते हैं. तेज चलेगा तो सरदार नहीं होंगे.